Hi, I'm Michelle Dart. I'm from the Tutoring and Technology Center, TNT Center. I'm here with your SOS quick tip. I'm going to talk about the writing process, and it is a good thing to keep in mind. It will help you not only with the entire writing process if you have an essay to do, but it's also good for your short answer questions when you're on a quiz or a test. It may seem counter uh, helpful to do that, but it focuses you. It makes the best use of your time as you're trying to figure out how you want to answer a short answer. So, as I said, it is a process and it helps to go through it, all of the steps, and it is an active process. So, you have to be actively engaged before you start writing. You have to think about, for pre-writing, you think about what do you know about the subject that you're going to be writing on. Is there anything new that you recently learned? So you write that down. And in this process, you're not thinking of, do I spell the words right? Am I going to write a nice sentence? You just jot down little phrases and just spell the word as best you know it, as long as you understand it. At this point, that's all that really matters. And you write everything down, and then you start looking at each of the words that you have or phrases, and you start thinking about categories and partnering them up with each other so you can find themes or main topics that you want to address as you're going through your writing. Now, on the right side of the description on this grid that I created, it's to kind of give you some of the strategies, some of the things that you think about, some things that you can do as you're going through this process. For some people, they're very visual, and doing a story web or through a graphic organizer, or what I like to call a spider web, because you have a big circle in the middle and all the little offshoot legs. And use that to help construct your essay. Others, they have to do an outline. They've got to see it. But whatever works for you, whatever works best for you, that's what you need to do. All right, and then at this point, you have an idea of what you want to talk about, because you have your categories of the key points that you want to make. And so then just go ahead and start writing. You've gotten your topics in order and what you want to talk about. And as you're writing, especially that first paragraph, you want to remember that you want to give the opposing person's viewpoint first, and then have yours. Think of it as going through a door. You and another person at the same time go to that door. More often than not, I know what I do is I open the door and I let the other person go first, and then I follow behind. That's a simple example of letting the other side in an argument go first. And then you follow up with yours, because at that point, it's easier to flow into your thesis statement or the key point that you want to make. And it sets up the last sentence, which will then set up the future paragraphs that point out the key points that you want to make in your essay. So at this point, you're writing, you're revising, you're looking at more for, does it make sense? See, you haven't discussed sentence structure or spelling yet. Right now, you just want to make, does it make sense? Does it flow okay? did I start talking about one thing but completely change the subject? That's why it's always good to have somebody read it, like a friend, a classmate, even a parent, a sibling, and say, okay, does this make sense? Am I staying on topic? And it helps getting that other person's point of view, because it could help you refocus, or they may see something that you had forgotten. Oh, what about this? You left this key point out that the professor mentioned in class and that we have to address within this essay. Oh, that's right, thanks. I forgot about that. So it's really good to have somebody else read your essay and then give you feedback. Then you go back, you make all of those changes. Okay, now is the time you need to start looking at sentence structure. Are my sentences written correctly? Is it grammatically correct? Are my words spelled correctly? Dictionary.com or any online dictionary is good for that. Microsoft Windows has a grammar and dictionary within it. These are the times you're going to look and say, this is what I need to focus on. And then read it out loud. I know it might sound strange, but if you read it out loud, you're hearing it, you're with your ears, you're seeing it with your eyes, and then obviously you're speaking it. When you use multiple senses, it helps you to connect to what it is you're learning. And that's usually when you can read sentences and can tell, does it make sense? Because all of these strategies we've been doing since we've learned how to talk. It's just we don't think about it as we, break about it into small chunks. We just do it. Our minds just fill in the blanks. So that's when you do that editing to see the grammar, the comprehension. Do I need to rearrange sentences? Maybe what you had in paragraph 2 really would sound better in paragraph 3. That's the time to do all of it. Then at that point, I would definitely check out your rubric or your checklist, compare it to what is required for your assignment, and then have a friend look at it again before you turn it in. Say, okay, does this look okay? Did I fix all of the things that you suggested to me? And then the last stage is publishing. Now, this obviously is the advanced version of when you're going to publish it for a newsletter or Tiger Paws, or an author publishes a book. But for our purposes, publishing also includes turning it in for a grade, because you're thinking, I'm giving the very best that I have. So at that point, you want to make sure that it is the best copy that you can give. And at that point, your instructor will receive it, and I'm sure your instructor will appreciate the fact that you went through the entire writing process to prepare your essay or your writing assignment. So again, the writing process is pre-writing, revising, editing, publishing. If you need any other help, we have the Rose Writing Center on campus and through internet, online with remote. We also have the TNT Center. All of us are here to help you to be more successful. Go Tigers.